Welcome back to the channel. It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and Starfield continues to put up some low-key impressive numbers, which we're going to get into in just a moment. But at this point, I'm about 155 hours into my personal adventures and just got to add the third most rare commendation to my tally, the stars, my destination, with only 2.2% of players having achieved this one. But for today, we've got Todd Howard giving us some Starfield development info about several aspects of the game, so stay tuned for that one. We've also got one Starfield player baffling the community by pulling off a wild feat, and I've got some details and discussions on some of Starfield's less liked features. Why do we need them, and how could they get better? Along with one feature that the Starfield Reddit is upvoting like crazy, and I think we all want this installed into the game. Now, as always, you guys have been knocking it out of the park with your continued support for my Starfield uploads. In case you haven't yet done so, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are greatly appreciated. Chapters are, of course, available for a smooth and easy viewing experience. And let's get this one going. Let's kick this one off with a recent statement from Todd Howard made while on the Game Maker's Notebook podcast. And this Game's Radar article titled, "Todd Howard didn't expect your Starfield ships to go so hard. Quote, if you give the people the tools, they will surprise you so much." Yeah, as someone that has been with this game since launch, I am in awe at some of the ships I've seen posted, both modded and not. It's just something I don't have a knack for. I stole a UC Navy ship from some pirates a while ago, and I've just stuck with that same ship for weeks. I posted a video a few days ago where I reviewed over 50 of the community-created ships, and I plan on doing some more of those in the future because shipbuilding seems to have become the game within the game. But Howard had some interesting comments on this as well. We love the shipbuilding. We've done a lot of cool shipbuilding. We've done some funny, interesting things, and just how far people have pushed it, how much they like to share those multi-page building guides. It's sort of like, if you give people the tools, they will surprise you so much. And that's one aspect of the community I wanted to give a big shout out to. It's how not only are these ships popping up left and right, but along with the designs, players are taking the time to give full breakdown guides so others can then come along and make that exact ship or, something close to it. The camaraderie and support within the Starfield community is something that doesn't get enough praise, but it's real and it deserves the recognition. And speaking of ships and ship design, this post really caught my attention. Cargo hulls should increase cargo, posted by Yoki Senpai. Hopefully I said that correctly. And they've included a 3x2 cargo hull photo along with this comment. It's cool to look at aesthetically if you walk through your ship, but would be the icing on the cake if they actually had a purpose. Now, this is a facet of shipbuilding I've seen mentioned many times on the Starfield Reddit. The HAB units look cool, how they each kind of differ and they have their own unique looks, but most of the time, they have no other purpose than just being there for looks. And here is a clear case of that example. I totally agree that if you install a cargo hull HAB, it should do something to increase your cargo capacity. These units look incredible. But I don't know, who knows? What if they could install a mechanic where when you took in different cargo, like when you loot destroyed ships, that your cargo hull would change appearance with different crates and boxes? Now, that would be cool to see. Let me know where you stand on all of this. Would you be interested in seeing not only cargo capacity expanded for using these units, but having them change appearance as you load and offload different cargo? Alright, next we've got this post over on Twitter from Peter Ovo that instantly caught my attention. Check this out. Some estimates put Starfield at 6 million copies sold on Steam. And there's this link to the Starfield Steam DB charts included. And at first, I was lost with this one. But if you take a look down at the bottom, it shows Steam Spy with an owner estimation at over 5.62 million. Again, that's just Steam PC owners. Now, I've never personally heard of Steam Spy, but PlayTracker and VG Insights I have heard of. Nearly 6 million on Steam alone sounds on the high side to me, but who knows, I could be wrong. The last player estimate we saw posted on September the 19th by Bethesda put the total player counts at just over 10 million, which includes Game Pass, and Starfield was posted as the number 2 most played game over there, and you would think the majority of the player counts would come from that side. Now, my feelings are that nearly 6 million of a reported 10 million was just on Steam PC is a bit optimistic, although Play Tracker at 1.43 mil sounds a bit more realistic to me. Switching gears, and this next one is just wild, posted by Dexerto. Starfield fans baffled as player marries 2 companions simultaneously. And apparently this player managed to marry both Sarah and Andreja at the exact same time after passing a persuasion check. Just listen to this. They cheated on Andreja with Sarah and was told to talk to Andreja. She was pissed, but I passed a persuasion check that was basically like, hey, don't be mad, babe. And I fully expected to get dumped, but it seems all it took was an easy persuasion check, and now I have 2 wives. Let me know if this is the first time you've heard of any of this, because I was taken back after reading the article. According to some of the responses to this post, Sarah will still take you if you're first married to Andreja, but not the other way around. And if I remember correctly, some of Sarah's dialogue options, when you can ask her about her past, she mentions that she's had past relationships with both men and women, and who knows, maybe this is how it all culminates in the game. My question is, do you get a double sleep bonus from 15 to 30% anytime you rest? I have questions. This next one popped up directly from the official Starfield game Twitter account, and I wanted some feedback on this topic. Create anything from basic sustenance to gourmet delicacies at a cooking station and put points into the nutrition skill to make food and drink more effective. Now for me, consuming food and water is something I don't mess with in Starfield. I've read of players making full kitchens in their outpost, sourcing all the best ingredients, but with the way the UI works, going into my menu and hopping into that area to try and eat food that gives you basically no health benefits, I just stick to med packs and trauma packs, things like that, especially when I'm in combat. But I will say that overall, I've never really interacted with this mechanic in Bethesda games. In Skyrim, I think I cooked maybe a dozen times in thousands of hours of playtime. Maybe it's something that could be made a priority, say like in a hardcore Starfield mode, where your player would get hungry and thirsty. Now, that would be an interesting addition to the game. Alright, this next one is one I know we all have strong feelings about, the overuse of loading screens. And Cenio17 posted this one to the Starfield Reddit asking about this very thing. Starfield doesn't even need all those loading screens. Let's preface this by saying that loading screens don't really bother me. They're super fast and they don't really hamper my immersion or experience. That said, I think they are a very strange design choice in many cases. Then he goes on to list them out. Elevators. Why fade to a black screen instead of using the elevator as a loading screen like Fallout 4 did? Many areas add loading screens when they're absolutely not necessary. Agreed with that one. One example is Neon City, where you can jump down the ledge from Ebside to go right back to the landing bay of your ship, but to get up, you had to use an elevator loading screen. Why? Many buildings have areas that are above or below you that are accessed by an elevator with a loading screen, yet you can jump down or jetpack up freely as well. Why? Grav jumps fade to white, then to black to the loading screen, then to white again for the animation. Why? Why not all white? Some shops and buildings are open and some require a loading screen through a door. Why? And as I read this through, I've got to say, Cenio17 does bring up some very valid points here. For instance, how is it you can jump down to the landing pad in Neon with no loading screen, but if you take the elevator, you do get one? I've also done the same many times from my apartment in New Atlantis. Take the elevator and tram, multiple loading screens. Pull out your scanner and highlight your ship on the landing pad to fast travel, loading screen, or use your jetpack off of the balcony. You can make it all the way down there with no loading screens. Same thing with fast traveling to different systems. Select the exact planet and landing location that is discovered, you can grav jump directly to the planet's surface. But if you select the system first, that's a loading screen. Select the planet once you've arrived in the system, loading screen, select the landing spot, ship landing, loading screen. Now, I'm not a game coder, but if Bethesda could sort out how to handle traveling and traversing to different zones and systems without all these loading screens, it could go really a long way to building a more cohesive and immersive environment to explore. And speaking of exploring, Whiskey Cloud's backup kept it simple but ultra effective with this post. Literally the only thing I want in this game. Just give me something to roam around the planet with. And then they posted a clean looking rover vehicle pic here, which I completely agree with this post. Give us something to wheel around on a planet's surface. I've even thrown the idea out there that we could attach some bars to Vasco and maybe use him to get around quickly, kind of like TARS and Interstellar. Something to get us across those huge areas of nothing as quickly as possible. Vehicles and loading screens seem to be at the top of a lot of players' wish lists. Maybe Bethesda can make this happen very soon, maybe in an upcoming DLC or even a modder. Might get this one taken care of once the creation kits are made available. Quick question for you, how many of you would have preferred much harsher planet-side environments? Well, according to Todd Howard, that was their original plan. A few days ago, Rock Paper Shotgun ran with this title. Starfield's planets were initially much harsher until Bethesda nerfed the hell out of status effects. What do you think about that? I feel like every time I land planetside, I'm catching some sort of affliction, lung damage, hypothermia, blisters, you name it. I get it within minutes of landing and exploring a planet. Howard did go on to expand on this a bit further, though. The way the environmental damage works in the game on planets and on your suit, you have resistances and certain kinds of atmosphere effects where there's radiation or thermal, etc. That's a pretty complex system, and it was very punitive. So we kept trying where you get these afflictions, we kept trying to tune it. We get to a point where we're tuning it and you're healing to heal those things. And what we did at the end of the day, and it was a complicated system for players to understand, is we just nerfed the hell out of it. Howard went on to explain that Bethesda's original vision for this was to make players use a multitude of different spacesuits, each designed to handle different atmospheric issues like radiation or extreme cold. He also admitted that the way that it is right now in the game, players don't think about it much, but that may be something they address going forward. Wow, okay, what would you say to that version of Starfield, where you equip the wrong spacesuit and say, step onto a planet with high radiation and are just immediately cooked? That's an interesting version of the game for sure, because like Different Morning 18 says in their post, anyone just say, F it, I guess I'm chronically sick now. And look at their HUD with 4 status effects all stacked up. You know, Howard's right though, these effects don't do much, although I've suffered lung damage before and it didn't do much, although it would make my player randomly cough and it would draw attention to my position, especially when I was trying to stealth my way into certain areas. Now, when it comes time to cure those ailments or to heal yourself, Shifty130 does bring up a good point here. I find it annoying when I try to use a stolen kit that it always seems to use a non-stolen item instead. And I've seen this one before. You have like 100 med packs that are clean, 1 that is stolen, and even when you select to use the stolen kit, it consumes one of the clean versions instead. Now, the only way I know how to fix this is to sell that stolen kit to a trade authority vendor and then, without leaving the vendor menu, go to the buyback area and buy that med pack back for the exact same price you sold it to them for. But I agree this is one that needs to be tweaked because I would love to use up those stolen items before the clean versions, especially when you know you're eventually going to get jailed for a bounty and then they confiscate those stolen items at time of release. And let's wrap this one up with some downright bizarre. Check this one out from MoSniper74 who asks, so why are they all naked? And just look at this. I think this is at the end of the Crimson Fleet questline. I mean, I could be wrong, but wow. Sometimes this game just does some crazy stuff. I've seen it where I've jumped off the train at New Atlantis and had some of the UC security force spawn in with no armor at all. Let me know if you've had something like this happen to you during your adventures. Okay, this feels like a great place to wrap this one up. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are of course greatly appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description below. Shout out to the now over 170,000 of you that have stuck with me and hit subscribe, and a special thanks goes out to my patrons and to those of you sending over those lovely YouTube super chats. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.